Welcome to Goofy Getaways with your hosts, Amy Blades and Amy Fisher.
Hi, I'm Amy Blades. Welcome to our Goofy Getaways podcast. If you're here, it means you came back, and we're extremely excited that you did.
Yes, and I am Amy Fisher. As you can tell, we are not the same person, but we both love Goofy Getaways, we love travel, and we are excited to talk to you today about one of our favorite things.
So if you found Goofy Getaways podcast, let us just remind you of who we are. So Goofy Getaways is actually a travel agency that specializes in Disney destinations, Universal destinations, really anywhere that you want to go, we can make sure and get you there. So we are a travel agency that loves to travel. We have a super diverse group of people that love to book your travel and give you lots of tips. We're a complimentary agency when you book packages with us. So if you've kind of stumbled upon this podcast or you had somebody say, hey, check this out, we're real people doing real things just like you every single day, but make a little more knowledge maybe to help get you where you want to go for your vacation. Wouldn't you say that's kind of who we are, Amy?
Exactly. We're all about just leading you to the magic, no matter where your travel destination. We're going to give you great customer service and help you have a stress-free and wonderful vacation, creating memories to last a lifetime. So what are we talking to him about today, Amy?
Oh, my favorite Disney cruise line. I know you had to kind of pull me back a little bit last week because we were talking about cruising in general. Amy very kindly kept saying, and we'll talk about that on the next podcast. So I always say it's my favorite product, but then, whenever I'm talking about anything Disney, I tell you it's my favorite product. But how about genuinely my favorite family vacation is a Disney cruise. So super excited to talk about it today.
Yes. We knew that Disney Cruise Line, honestly, it's probably going to become multiple podcast episodes over the course of time, if we're being very honest with you all. Yeah. But today it was we want to share some of the things that are unique and different about Disney Cruise Line compared to some of the other cruise lines. Because a lot of times people just don't understand, why would you do a Disney cruise versus a Royal Caribbean or a Norwegian cruise line or another brand. And it's not that there's anything wrong with the other brands, but we obviously very much love Disney Cruise Line. And so we want to share a little bit of that information with you all today.
And I think sometimes I'm excited that we kind of designated one whole podcast for this, because sometimes I feel like people will say, but isn't it just for kids or just for families? And not just because my kids were, raised on Disney vacations and we're a Disney family, but I have 3 boys. 2 of them chose their 21st birthday doing a Disney cruise with everybody. So I think that we need to do, us, Goofy Getaways, sometimes maybe a better job of letting people know, hey, it is fantastic for families, but let me tell you what, it can be an amazing adult experience too. So
yeah. And as I think we shared on the last podcast episode, I've sailed Disney Cruise Line a couple of times now. And obviously every time I sail adult only. It's me on the cruise and I have an amazing time, and it's my favorite cruise line. So
yeah, it's fun. It's very focused, more on family stuff, I think, today. And that's one of the things that I'm excited to talk about, are definitely the areas for the kids, which make me, you can come as an adult. I just said that you can do an adult, but you can also be transformed into, I love when you first get on the ship is when you can actually explore and you can see the kids clubs in the nursery. And I'm they never had things like that when we were kids. And Disney continues to evolve with that. Even ships that they're really good about refurbing ships and updating. I'm always can we just stay here for a little bit?
Yes.
But yeah, I'm excited to talk about the whole thing. So you give it to me today, ma'am. Give it to me.
Heck, let's dive right in and let's go ahead and talk about the kids club spaces, because honestly, that is every major cruise line is going to have, as long as it's not an adult only cruise line, I should say. But if it's a family based cruise line, they are going to have some type of kids club on their ship, which means you can go drop off your kiddos. Sometimes the kiddos request to just hang out in the kids club space versus staying with mom and dad. Yeah. But that is an amazing space that's available for them. But Disney Cruise Line just does some unique things with it. So let's talk a little bit about those kids club spaces that Disney Cruise Line offers.
I think I have to go back for 1 second about when we would go on family vacations. For my husband, especially when our boys were younger, like he would think of vacation, we're all going to be together and we're all doing our things together. And then the kids clubs, when we took the boys to the kids clubs, they would want to stay like in the kids clubs and not come hang out with him. And honestly, Amy, he would like get so upset. Like they'd rather stay there than hang out with us. And it's just it's funny because he's thinking we're going to have this family time together. And I'm like, why don't you come to the spa with me? And instead, he's going to find something else to do and mope around. But I want to first start by, because the Small World Nursery isn't really a club, but kind of a club for babies. But I know sometimes you feel unsettled leaving your baby with just anyone. And I have had clients that have utilized the Small World Nursery. It is really adorable. But the thing I think is good to remember is obviously the way that Disney hires, the way that they vet, they make sure they have the right people in the right places. And you can definitely feel content and safe with leaving your baby. You do have to pay for the Small World Nursery, where that is an extra fee, where you don't have to for the other clubs, but it is definitely available. So as we're talking about all the cool things that you can do with the kid clubs, I just wanted to make sure that we mentioned that there is the Small World Nursery, which like maybe in my retirement, I could talk my husband into letting us, work for Disney for a little bit, and I could be in the nursery. But you'd be surprised the amount of people that do leave their babies. And I've had really good feedback from people on it. So yeah.
Yes. And another note about the Small World Nursery is that it's recommended to do reservations in advance for that, because they do limit how many babies they will take at a time, because they want to make sure that
Correct.
Right, their time is dedicated to keeping those babies that are there safe and happy. So yeah, that one you do make a reservation for like a return time. And like Amy Blade said, there's a small fee to it. But yeah. All right, let's start to talk about the actual like kids club spaces though.
Yeah, let's dive in. I think the Oceaneers Club is probably I'd say one of the more popular ones. I not only is it interactive and fun, like they always have things for kids to do. They have characters that show up. Sometimes they have special crafts that you can do with the character. Sometimes they have snacks. It really just depends. And I was kind of cheating a little bit by checking my notes, only because there are some things that are special just to certain ships. And definitely with having, growing the fleet, it's going to keep us on our toes to make sure we know like what ships have what clubs, to make sure if a kid, there are some people that plan a trip completely around what the ship has to offer, and it's about their kids. So let's dive in, and I'm going to tell you. Tell you some of my personal favorites and some of the favorites of my own kids too. But they definitely have the youth clubs, which we can kind of go over little by little. But they have the tween clubs, they have the teen clubs. They do a really good job of separating kids by ages. And I will say something that everyone should know. Disney is all about customer service. We know that they always want to go the extra mile. This is something that they are a stickler on, and it's not something that you're going to want to press. We have our younger boys are only 15 months apart. So thankfully, every time we cruise, my younger boys were where they could go together. But I have had families that have kids that are, even 6 months apart or a year apart, and being able to go into the same club. So make sure that you know that ahead of time. Make sure and ask your travel consultant questions about that. If it's something that your kids were going to struggle with being apart, just make sure that you have a plan going in so that you know what to expect. I think when you have done like tours of the ships, you've seen the kids areas, I'm sure, right?
Yes, absolutely. And they're amazing. So much detail.
The theming, I think the theming and just the fact of everything that the kids can do. It's almost like a dream. And I keep saying like we were kids, we never had anything like that. But think of everything that you ever loved and every movie that you ever watched. And it's an immersion. Like it's just, my favorite thing was when we were invited to do the preview sailing of the Wish, which was 2 years ago already. And in order to get to the kids club, of course, there is another way to get there, but the fun way to get to it is that you go down a slide, and the slide takes you down to the kids club. So I love the way that Disney reimagined their thinking and where they put everything and located everything. and you slide right down into the magic. So
Amy, did you take the slide though, is what I want to know. Did you take the slide down? Because I did.
How about you talk about the slide? Because let's both say, we already know the answer. Did Amy take that down? Amy did not, but Amy did. So talk about that real quick, because I mean, I definitely looked at where it was and then went down to see the club, but that's got to be really cool.
It's so cute. It's so fun. So like Amy was saying, even if you're an adult on a Disney cruise ship, like the very first day that the cruise is setting sail, anyone can go check out those kids club spaces. So you can go explore them and see what they look like and check out all the details. And yes, you can go down the slide into the kids club area. Like it was cute. It was fun. I'm not going to lie. It is very much designed for children.
That's what I was worried about. Like, I'm a big girl. I didn't want to get stuck in the slide. Like
I'm not a very large adult. Like I'll own that piece, and I am fairly active. So I was able to like crawl out at the end, and it worked out. Maybe not for every adult to try the slide. The odd thing was, like, one of my favorite things is as soon as you go down the slide, or if you go down the stairs to get there as well, or take an elevator, right? But like once you get to the kids club area, the hand washing station, I want one of those in my home. They're like automatic, especially if you're like a germ. Mm-hmm. Are the coolest things ever. You just like stick your hands in. Like, kids are going to want to play in the hand washing stations. For sure. I did. Like, that was the coolest thing ever.
For sure. I think that when we went to tour it too, you see all the parents like doing like, this is the greatest thing. It's the greatest thing. Let's talk about the ages of the clubs though. So there is the Oceaneers Club, and then there's the Oceaneers Lab, and that's from 3 to 10. And they do a really good job, obviously, of separating the kids. So don't worry about that. You're not going to have a 10-year-old hanging out with the 3-year-olds and vice versa. And then they have the Edge, which is 11 to 14. So to me, that's kind of like that tween club. My kids really liked that a lot when they were younger. And then Vibe is 14 to 17. So there's definitely a really nice breakdown of ages, and I feel like they're definitely appropriate. So I think if we, dive into some of the things that each of those clubs do, that's one of the things that I really kind of wanted to talk about, was just kind of the difference. And if you have children that are, I don't want to say stinkers, because I don't think I'm a stinker, but I like the spa. And then they do have like tween spa for kids, which there's nothing wrong with kids. You're on vacation. You've worked really hard to be pampered. So I always like to talk about the spa too. Do you think as a, I call it a customer, but as a guest, when you have been on the ship, do you feel like you can definitely do a good job of separating? If you want to be around kids, you can be around kids. And if you don't, you don't. I think that's the biggest question that I'm asked. And the clubs, don't you feel like they do a really good job of kind of tucking them away so that they're not just like in an adult? I mean, they do a nice job of making sure the kids have a really great time. And it's not seclusion, but it's even for their own safety and stuff too, kind of keeping them out of the way. Because I do love, it's kind of a fun thing when you first get on board, no matter what ship it is, to go explore the ship, to find out where it is that they placed the clubs. And if you do a cruise, a Disney cruise, honestly, take time when you first get on. You're going to see all the adult stuff because that's going to be what you're there to do. Just take even like an hour when you get on. And I mean, our family kind of has our ritual of doing things like we do this, and then we do this, and then we do this. And it's just the way that it's always been. But just take like an hour to go find these clubs so that you can look at them. Because if you're not going to utilize them, you can definitely talk to somebody else about them. It is absolutely what stands out when you're traveling with kids and you're looking for a cruise. I've done several other cruise lines, and this is where Disney hits the ball completely out of the park. But I always say service as well. But take time to check them out and just and I think it'll make a parent feel safer. I think that's one of the big things
Yes.
that I have parents that talk to me about too, is
And I think it makes the kids feel special, right? Like,
yeah.
so the kids almost feel like they have their own area and their own special experience with it. And Disney does a
Yes.
really good job with the cast members making it feel special for them too. But, again, you can go on any cruise line and it's going to be cute, appropriate, kid friendly, but like Disney, the details that they put into it. So for example, if we think to the Wish, because that was the last Disney cruise ship that I was on as well, they have a Marvel Academy area. Yeah. That's in the Oceaneers area for those kids that are under the age of 10, where you can literally like draw superhero costumes and meet the superheroes. They have a Star Wars area that I felt like I was in, like, if you've ever ridden Smuggler's Run and you've seen like the details that are in there, that's what it feels like. You feel like you're inside the Millennium Falcon, which is so cool. Then you kind of go over to another section of that same space. So don't worry. Like, yes, we talked about how the kids are separated by their age, but let's say you've got an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old and they want to be able to see each other. Like, they can still somewhat see each other and interact because they're still in the same general vicinity. Yes. And it's kind of like open spaces for them to kind of move between. But there's like a really cool art area. There was like a princess library. Like you literally feel like you're in Belle's library. Yeah. If they could make that for adults on any Disney cruise ship, just FYI, Disney, I'm going to put this out there into the universe for your future ships. An adult only Belle's library theming. I don't care if it's a cafe, a lounge, whatever you want it to be, but like I would pay any amount of money to be in that space. So we'll just throw that out there because
the dance parties.
Why do only the kids get it? But yes, and then they even have like, you can learn how to be an Imagineer and like understand how they engineer some of the roller coasters. I was like, and you're like mock riding the roller coaster. I was like, what is this?
They're learning.
Is so cool.
They're learning. Yeah, absolutely. And I love just and I kind of diverted. Imagine that, Amy. When you were talking about where the kids can see each other, it kind of made me think of that's where I was like, the dance parties, because they do have dance parties where everyone, like when you talk about the one area, so kids have like these separate things they can do, but then they have characters come in and, there's lights lighting up and there's things on the floor, like it's lights and games, and everywhere you turn, you can have your kid, if they're just kind of wanting to chill out, or if there's someone that has a lot of energy. I will say the staff is also a thing that really makes it to our kids. And we were very fortunate to be able to travel with good friends several times when our kids were younger on Disney Cruise Line. And there we had the two older, by that 15 months, and then the two younger, but they loved the counselors, the cast members. And that was some of their favorite parts of going back, because I think it's really important to note that while there are all of the facilities to have this amazing experience, the cast members definitely know how to take that even a step further, whether it's playing games or helping them be creative, helping them think out of the box, helping them. And so I like that the cast members that they have are specific to those clubs for that sailing. So if your kids really kind of connect with somebody, or let's just say there's someone they don't connect with, there's still enough people to get around that. But it's incredible. I've often said I think that they need clubs like that for adults. Just because the library, I agree with you. Like, that would be my favorite thing. That's one of the only things that I think Disney has not latched onto, and it's just me. I'm not sure that my opinion really matters, but on other cruise lines, some of my favorite areas are like the Central Park area. Even if there was just a little space where I love to sit and read, that's something for me that in my normal everyday life, I'm go, 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 go. And by the time I get in bed, I love to read and I don't have time to do it. On a cruise, like sitting outside or feeling like I'm in the park in the middle of the ocean reading. I agree with you though. Like, the theming is incredible. But I could keep talking about that forever. But
and though I do want to say one other thing about the Kids Club really quick, right? We talked about the excellent staff and how knowledgeable they are, but please know that Disney also has a lot of things in place to make sure that your children are safe during that. There is a very specific check-in, check-out policy. It's cute because your kids can use their magic band to scan in, scan out. You can decide who can pick them up. Like you create like a password and all this kind of stuff. So your kid can't just like randomly disappear. So cruise ships can feel very large and can be a little bit nerve-wracking sometimes for a parent, that you're like, wait, like I'm not sure I want to just randomly leave my child in this location. But like, please know Disney has a lot of great safety measures in place. So yeah, your kid's going to have a great time, but you also get peace of mind knowing that your child is very safe.
Absolutely. That's probably the thing that I'm asked about the most. And it's almost saying, I mean, obviously there's always a concern no matter what, when you're a parent, doesn't matter where you're at, but just more the inquisitiveness. And once you figure out how it works, but like the Oceaneers Club is big for Marvel. It's also big for Toy Story. And I had kind of forgotten one of my boys' favorite thing was like the Slinky Dog slide. And we don't want to give like some of it away either, but obviously Star Wars is also a focus. I love the little area. I'm a huge Tinkerbell fan, and there is an area for Tinkerbell, which really does look like a forest. And that's the place where when I went in, I'm like, can I just sit in the corner? Because I promise like nobody will even know I'm here, but they didn't let me do that. But there's definitely like the Princess Fairy Tale Hall. And I really think it's important to I just wanted to touch base on each of the ships have things that are different also. Like when we talk about the Wish and how you get down to the kids area, I'm really excited because what is it, just a couple weeks I'll be on the Treasure, and I'm super excited to see. We did have someone that was there yesterday that represented the agency, and it looks incredible. But I'm excited to see if they're going to change that. But you've got Andy's room. There's just so many there's so many things, and I feel like I could just keep talking about them for forever. I just want to make sure that I wasn't missing any. I'm trying to.
And again, this is why, and this is also why, it's really nice to work with a travel consultant as you're planning a Disney cruise, because we can help you figure out which cruise ship is going to be the right fit for your family.
Absolutely. And there is a difference. People don't think there is, but there is a difference.
So the Wish and that class tends to have more of the Marvel related details in the kids club area. So if your kids are really into superheroes, then you might need to go with that class of a ship, but we can help you find the right ship and the right sailing date. Versus if your kids are more into some of the classic characters, we can help you, or like you've got a little kiddo who's really into Anna and Elsa. Again, we can help you find the right ship for your family and what you're looking for too. But
and that's Amy's way of telling me that I gotta transition to something else. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sometimes
we could
all
talk.
over.
I mean, we could probably literally maybe we should have an episode. Tell us in the comments, friends. But maybe we should have an episode at some point in time that's just about the kids clubs.
100%. Yeah,
but we want to keep telling you some other things that are very unique. And let's be honest, I'm very excited for what I want to talk about next because, shocker, it's about food. And Amy loves food. This Amy loves food. So something that is so unique to Disney Cruise Line is something that is called rotational dining. And people, if you've ever been on a cruise ship, every cruise ship has what we call main dining rooms. And so normally you are assigned to a main dining room. You go and eat in that same, that is your dining room to eat in for dinner. Every single night you have the same wait staff and they're lovely. Disney Cruise Line on every single cruise ship is going to have 3 different themed main dining rooms. And what is so cool about Disney Cruise Line is that during the course of your sailing, so most sailings are at least 3 nights long. There are a couple of 2-night sailings. So just as a heads up, if you have a 2-night sailing, you wouldn't make it to all the dining rooms, but as long as you have a 3-night sailing or longer, you're going to make it to each of the dining rooms during your sailing, and your serving staff rotates with you from one restaurant to another. So you still get the same serving staff and you still get that same high quality level of service so that they know your food allergies. They know if you want a Diet Coke with ice or, and a lime or whatever, right? Whatever your preferences are, they're going to know that. They
something
learn
to be said for when you
really
show
well
up
on the first night. Yes.
Yeah. The next night and they know what you want. Yeah.
As soon as you sit down, they just come out, by night 2, you sit down and they're bringing you over your preferred beverage, and they'll help you with things I've literally seen the serving staff cutting up kids' food so that mom and dad don't have to do that. on the cruise. Like just little things like that go a really long way. But that rotational dining piece where you get to go to each of the 3 main dining rooms, the food is actually really good.
I think that's something to mention, that when you are on other cruise lines, you can pay extra to do finer dining, and Disney has taken that out. Disney does have additional dining experiences that you can pay for, but I want to talk about that main dining. You are getting what you would get on other ships as that other additional dining package, or the,
Yes.
So what they put out for their main dining it's fine dining.
Yes.
Would you agree?
It's fabulous. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, and it's
like
good.
It basically falls into the category of what you would normally have to pay for as
Yes.
specialty dining on most of the other ships.
Yeah.
And you get theming in each of those main dining rooms, right? Like, so it's not just that you're sitting down and eating a meal, right? Like,
it's an experience.
Like it's, so we're going to talk about the Wish again. Sorry, because like that was the last ship I was on. And so that's the freshest in my memory. But it's like you go into the Marvel dining experience and it's interactive. And like Spider-Man comes out at the end of your meal. Like he's not going to walk around and sign autographs, but he does come around and like wave at all the tables and all this.
And
like,
I had Ant-Man. I had Ant-Man. Cool. So you never know for sure who you're going to get. It's Marvel
is true. You could
themed.
like it's going to be a Marvel character just as a like, and it could be just about any Marvel character. But like it's just such a cool experience, and like you have to like there's a I don't even know what to call it. There's a thing on the middle of your table, and you like have to press it in order to interact with the show that's happening. Like. It's so cool. Animator's palette place, like where you're like drawing and then your art ends up on the walls. Like
that's really cool. And that they only do on certain ships. There is Animator's palette, which is amazing, but that part that Amy's talking about is only on certain ships. But that is one of the coolest things also. Just the way that it's interactive and the way that your waiters and the wait staff get involved too. We could sit and talk about, like, I think about, even if we're talking about the Wish, but like the Frozen dinner and like the theming, that show is incredible. Like the talent that they have is incredible.
Yes.
So
and speaking of the treasure that's coming, we saw snippets from our agent. Megan was on for a preview yesterday for some details. What I'm so excited for on the treasure is that they're going to have a Coco restaurant and show, and like I'm gonna intend to bring Kleenex with me because I'm probably gonna ugly cry watching that. But I'm like, it looks like it's gonna be I've already heard that like reviews of the food are great for that restaurant, that Coco restaurant, because who doesn't love great quality like Mexican based food? Oh my gosh. But 2, that the show is gonna be so cute, so fun.
Good.
I'm like,
and I think Disney took a little bit of a hit, or, everybody always has an opinion. Some things are for some people, some things aren't, I mean, that's just in general. But when the Wish came out, like that, a lot of people don't realize a lot of that was done during the pandemic time. So the rollout of that, especially when we were on like the media preview, there were things that we couldn't get to because they were still just trying to fine tune it. So I really think that with the treasure, they did have some extra time, kind of like previously they did with the dream and with the fantasy. And so I'm so excited because I think that we're really going to get a glimpse of what you just said, the food, the actual entertainment. Definitely take time when you're looking at doing a Disney cruise. Obviously, that's what your travel consultant is for. And they're going to give you, I know what Goofy Getaways, we're going to give you all kinds of information to help you decide about each ship. And make sure you kind of dive into that, because each ship is selective in some things. You're definitely going to get the same experience, but even some of the characters are different. The food and the theming as far as food, the theming for entertainment, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. There is a difference between the ships. So when you hear Amy and I talking about certain things and certain food, I really kind of the way that they do such an authentic job of making their menus for if you're, like the frozen food, like the meatballs. Oh my God. Like the actual food and the way that they theme it towards I don't even know how else to mention it, but it authentic, wouldn't you say, to the region?
Yeah.
Like it's
I even
real,
think back to like Tiana's on the Wonder, and I was like, oh my gosh, and you get beignets for dessert, and they're so light and fluffy and delicious. And you're like, how did you pull this off on a cruise ship?
On a cruise ship. I had the pleasure of, and I do apologize because I can't remember the name because this is just, I wasn't planning to talk about this, but when I was on the Wish and the preview, we were able to have a presentation from the chef, the culinary that created the entire menu for the ship. And when you listen to all of the planning and the detail that goes into every single dish, and they do that with every single ship, every single restaurant, every single station. So yeah, the food, it is funny because Amy is definitely, more of a foodie. And my family, especially, my son and my husband are definitely, my older son, they're more foodies. I mean, I like food. I like good food, but I know you and Charles in particular will talk about just the incredible selection of what they have, but just the quality. Am I wrong? But the quality of the food,
yes.
which
And
is really
like,
important. So
if you're somebody who food really matters to you, right? It can make or break your vacation.
100%.
And so it can be one of those scenarios. And it's like, that's what I really appreciate about Disney Cruise Line. And I'm not going to say that every food item that you get on a ship is going to be perfect. But at the same time, it's like the quality of what you get, especially in the main dining rooms on a Disney cruise ship, just excels compared to most other cruise lines. It just does. So it's not that you can't find good quality food on the other cruise ships. It's just, it's going to come at an additional price tag versus these main dining rooms, this rotational dining. This is already included with your cruise fare. You are paying nothing extra for this. This is part of your cruise, and it's part of what makes the Disney Cruise Line experience
agree.
Special and magical, right? The quality of the food, the customer service, the details, the entertainment that happens
during your meals, because we haven't even talked about like entertainment on the ship. Yeah, it's an experience all in itself, and it is good to note that if you choose not to do the rotational dining, you're still going to be assigned like a time and a space where you start, but you can still definitely go and do the more like quick serve style. Every ship has that. If you're someone that doesn't want to do just like a sit down and you're on vacation and you just want to chill out, and there's so many options there too. So I don't want to
you're not required to go eat in these main dining rooms. There's going to be other locations to get food, and honestly, even on Disney Cruise Line, you can actually get room service, and that's no additional charge for you either. So you can actually, if you're we are tired and we're done at the end of the day, kids are having meltdowns, we don't want to go to a dining room, you don't have to. You can 100% still get good food and get it delivered to your room, or go
breakfast,
eat. Lots
lunch,
of people eat like up on the pool deck. That's totally fine.
Yeah, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about the entertainment that happens during some of the rotational dining, but Amy, let's talk about what some of the entertainment that's included just in general across the ship.
Yeah.
Because
this is when I'm looking at a ship and I'm looking at the differences in ships and differences in cruise lines. The talent to me is, it is definitely Broadway caliber. That's first and foremost. And that's from the set to the lighting to the sound to the stagehands to the performers, all of it. It's definitely, and I'm sure we'll talk about this at some point in time. A New York trip and Broadway, it's a big thing for me, and I love it. And those that Disney, they deliver. They absolutely deliver. So before we get to like the shows though, let's talk about the sail away party. That is one of my favorite things. There are some people that are like, oh, I don't even, and I'm like, just do it at least once. There's something about waving at people and having little pom-poms and having the drink of the day and watching Mickey, as you're sailing away for your
and then the horn plays. Oh,
the horn is my favorite. I know.
And
see, it makes me
just
just
as a little heads up, Disney Cruise Line ships, their horns are going to play a little Disney tune. So it's not just so like cool. A normal beep beep. It's like and you're just like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I love the sail away party. Tip: if you have kiddos, go down to the pool, like the main pool deck part, and be like in the dance party for the sail away party. If you're an adult, there's going to be an upper deck that overlooks the sail away party. That's my favorite place as an adult to watch the sail away party. You can see everything, but like you don't necessarily feel like a creeper in the middle of the kids' dance party. So that's my tip. If you've got kiddos, go down, like live up the dance party. The characters come out and like dance with the kids. It's so fun. If you're an adult, I recommend staying on the upper deck and watching it all.
I would agree.
Enjoy it with your drink in your hand. It's such a good time.
It's a lot of fun. So you definitely going to want to make sure that you're doing the sail away party. And then you're also, when I'm thinking of deck parties, they do a lot of fun stuff on the deck throughout the day at different times. So definitely check that out. And everything is on your app. So you used to be the navigator, which I love because it was like in your hand, but now it's all in the app and you can see what's happening. Another deck thing that is incredible and it's exclusive to Disney is Pirate Night on the Disney ships. Now there are some sailings where there is not Pirate Night, just depending, like Alaska does not do Pirate Night. That's one that's coming to mind specifically, but you're going to definitely want to make sure you're checking the itinerary. So if you are someone that's expecting that, you're not showing up on the ship and it's not there.
However, for the Alaska cruise, instead of Pirate Night, they do Frozen Night.
Correct. And so you still get a experience. Yeah, you still get, but the fireworks, there is also something to be said about fireworks in the middle of the ocean. And it is funny that you can see, I remember the first time looking up and I was like crying and I, not like sobbing, but was thinking, oh my goodness, like what an incredible life that I've been blessed with, that I can stand here with my family in the middle of the ocean and we're looking at fireworks. Like and you can see other cruise ships that kind of, I'm sure that there's rules how close you can get to each other, but they try to get a little bit closer to see the fireworks. So that's a lot of fun too. Those are some of those things that stand out for Disney, because every cruise line has entertainment type shows, but I'm a sucker for Disney. I'm a sucker for Disney stories. There are definitely characters that are my favorite, even at my age. And some of the shows that they have are not just okay, so we know that there's like a Little Mermaid performance, and then we know that there's going to be a Moana, and that there's the Beauty and the Beast, which is beautiful. That show is beautiful. But then there are also shows specific to the ships, like Wish is probably my favorite. And it just resonates still to me from being a child to then being an adult and having your own family. But where you do have the themes, like your shows that you've liked and some of your favorite characters, you have those shows, but then they also do some other stuff too. There's usually either like a magician or a comedian or something like that, because especially if you're doing a long sailing, and there's only like the 3 actual shows, they're going to make sure that there's still a lot of stuff for you to do, just specifically in talking about entertainment show wise, right? Just don't discount the shows thinking, oh, it's just a Disney thing, or just take the hour to go in and see it. It's magical.
Yes. And usually the actual show itself is only 20, I think the longest one is like 40 minutes.
I think so too.
So it's still something that like most kids would be entertained to sit through and to enjoy. And then they do the shows twice per night, right? Yep. So you have your rotational dining. There's going to be 2 different time slots for the dining. There's also 2 time slots for the shows. So if you have the later dining, you can go to the early show or vice versa. So it's really nice. Like Disney purposely will try to set up a schedule for you that you can, again, you're not required to do any of this, but like you can watch the show or watch whatever the nighttime entertainment is and enjoy your meal in the same night. And everybody will have that opportunity, no matter what your dine time is, no matter what that piece of it is. So, but yeah, oh my gosh, those shows are so, so good.
No, they are. And I think of entertainment in somewhat too. Maybe this is a segue. And if we're not quite there, just, tell me. We have a way of doing that, which everyone's going to figure this out, I'm sure. Because you're definitely not just here for Disney content. I can tell you that. This is a show amongst itself. And I may note, I am in the middle of relocating. So today I am a hot mess. You're seeing real authenticness. But that's why you book with a travel agency that is real. There's just no holding back. But the bars are what I was going to say can also be an experience. And before I kind of jump on that though, the last night there's always something in the entry, what is it, the atrium with my mind is completely, but so that is also a show that some people think, they don't think of it as a show, but it's kind of like the goodbye, sending you home. So make sure that no matter what ship you're on, that's really cool too. But I think the bars, I love the theming of the bars. Even if you're not someone that's a huge drinker, you can still experience the Skyliner is one of my favorite, or the Skyliner. Thinking of the Skyliner at Walt Disney World. Oh my gosh, I just completely lost my train of thought. Okay, maybe we can edit that out or keep that.
I was I'm not sure where you're even going with that. It's more entertaining if we leave it in.
Yeah, it is actually on the dream and the fantasy, the oh my gosh, my mind is completely blank right now, where you switch your landscapes. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think this is going to make me crazy. I don't even know
what you're talking about.
Okay, well, I'm going to find it.
While you're talking about that, I'm going to talk about for a second about it, because if we're going to head into bars, if you are a Star Wars fan, on the Wish, they have the Hyperspace Lounge. On the Treasure, oh my gosh, again, so Treasure is the new ship coming out this December. Oh, they have a Haunted Mansion themed bar. They have a Scat Cat Lounge Club. They have a Jungle Cruise type of a themed bar area as well. Mm-hmm. And these bar spaces, some of them are always adult only, and then some of them during the day are very family friendly. So for example, on the Wish, there's a Tiana's space, and I did an art class there where you learned how to draw your favorite Disney character, but all ages were more than welcome there. But then in the evening, it turns into more of an adult only space. All right, did you remember what it is, Amy?
I was right. We don't have to edit it out. I knew it was Skyline, but then when I said Skyline, made me think of the Skyliner, and I'm you ding dong. But yeah, it is. It's my favorite. I knew it though, because it's panoramic views of city skylines, and it's beautiful, and it's just the theming, but the drinks too are usually amazing. And that's something to also know. The bartenders on the ships, you'll end up, sometimes I find my favorites, and I like that. But it is the Skyline bar, and it's my favorite.
Okay, and you said that's on the skylines. Fantasy and the Dream?
It's on the Fantasy and the Dream, yes.
Okay,
yes.
So fun little promo for you all. If you're, by the way, also sitting there going, oh my gosh, I would love to be on a Disney cruise with the Amy's, you have an opportunity. We are sailing on the Disney Fantasy this next February 2025. So if you're listening to the episode before that point, reach out to us. We would love to help you get on the sailing. Yes, there are still rooms available. Come sail with us, and we will have a drink with you in the Skyline.
We will.
Lounge. Wouldn't that be such a great time?
Yeah,
I'm excited.
If you
to
come,
go check that one out.
We'll may actually buy you a drink. I'm saying it right here. I'll buy.
If you mention the podcast episode, Amy Blades will buy you a drink.
Yeah,
Amy Blades will.
That's right. Remember, we're not the same person. But you have to book it with Goofy Getaways and be sailing with us. There are. That's how you
some
get
stipulations there for sure. Oh my gosh. But yes. So, and okay, let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room with Disney Cruise Line that sometimes gets a bad rap for people who do enjoy bars and lounges. Disney Cruise Line does not offer any type of a drink package. So that's the truth of the matter. You will pay per drink. It goes on to, your credit onto your account each time. However, I will say one, I feel like Disney Cruise Line drinks are reasonably priced when you're on the cruise ship in general. So there's that piece. They also do a drink of the day every single day. That drink of the day usually sits somewhere between like $6 and $8.
Yeah,
it just depends a little bit on what it is. You can also get a mocktail version of that drink of the day, and it's even cheaper. So that's something that's available for you as well. So it's still, you're still able to go and have a good time, and I think end up like not spending as much, because on Disney cruise ships, most other cruise lines, if you're going to have anything like soda or basically anything besides water, coffee, or tea, right? That's usually the only thing that's included with your beverage, like basic cruise fare on most cruise lines. Disney Cruise Line, you're also going to get things like any of the fountain beverages already included. That will include things like lemonade, Powerade, all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really nice that you can get all those beverages already included, so you're not paying extra for that. So you don't, in my opinion, you don't really need a drink package.
Yeah, I don't think you do either.
The same way. Also, there is a piece of that if you're, right, Disney Cruise Line does try to be a very family-friendly cruise line, and I'm not going to say that there aren't people who get drunk on a Disney cruise ship. It does happen for sure. However, we see a little less of those potential issues happening on a Disney cruise ship because they don't sell a drink package.
Well, I mean, Disney is there to experience all of the experiences. If you're looking for a cruise where all you want to do is like drink the entire time and it's like party, party, party central, because you're definitely going to have a party on Disney Cruise Line, but not the same. Like if you're looking for a spring break-ish type feeling when you were, 21, you can still have a great time on Disney, but you're thinking of something
that's
completely
not that
different
vibe.
than what you're doing. Yeah, for sure.
100%. And we can help you pick that cruise line. Like we can help you for 100%. Sure if that's the vibe you're looking for. But just as an FYI, on any of the Disney cruise ships, that's not going to be the vibe that you're going to find. So it's not going to be kids in your face all the time. There are lots of great adult only spaces. There's always going to be a pool space that is adult only. The spa and fitness center is adult only. You have to be 18 to go into those spaces.
Which does not cost extra, which on some other cruise lines it does.
Yeah. So like there's just some, like there are some amazing adult only spaces that you can get into and you can enjoy. And again, throughout the day, there will be adult only activities available to you. So there will be like an adult only trivia game or an adult only like bingo or whatever. So those things happen all throughout the day. So like we were kind of saying when we talked about the kids club piece, you can be around kids as much as you want. You can also have a Disney cruise like the way I do it. And it's like really the only time I see kids is when I'm in the main areas. And I don't have any interaction with them. So like it doesn't phase me one way or another. I'm just like, it's just like if you were to walk anywhere else in public, right? You're like, I'm in the grocery store. There are children around. I'm not interacting with them. It's whatever it is, right? Like you can have that same level of interaction on a Disney cruise ship. So just as an FYI, there are lots of amazing adult only spaces. The other cool thing, we talked about rotational dining. Disney Cruise Line, every cruise ship will have one, typically two specialty dining, and the specialty dining is adult only. So those are available for you. You take what we already said was nice, high quality main dining room for the rotational dining rooms, right? Yeah. These are just, this is where it goes from like really good quality dining to like, Michelin, oh my gosh, 4 or 5 star dining experience. And they're absolutely excellent. Those are an additional cost, those specialty dinings. And again, those are adult only. So those are some of like the adult only experiences. I love to do like Palo brunch is probably one of my favorite things.
Mine too.
Ever.
Mine too. And we do that on, and it is only offered when you have, or on a sea day. So one of my favorite things, because you want to make sure you're going to get that booked early, but I would agree. I like Palo for dinner also, but man, the brunch is one of my favorite things too.
I could eat breakfast for every meal. So I think that might be a piece of it of why I'm like, because brunch, right? You get their breakfast food. So you can get like a huge, absolutely delicious Mickey waffle. And then they're also going to bring you their chicken parmesan. And you're like, this is fabulous. All in the same meal. It's so good.
I agree.
So good.
I agree with you for sure.
So, but obviously like in these adult only spaces, you're going to get amazing customer service, amazing support, care, etc. So I want to know from you, Amy Blades, like, you've sailed concierge. I've never sailed concierge, right? So we know across the board, Disney Cruise Line, their customer service is absolutely excellent. But what makes it go to another level when you do something like concierge?
Concierge is my favorite way to do a cruise. Once you do it, you're not going to want to go
It's hard to go
way.
back.
I love, though, the lounge, the concierge lounge. I love because it is a place for families to go where you've got snacks. You've got, not that all of there are things that are available on the ship, but taking it a step further, just the type of snacks that they have, the drinks that they have. They do have cocktail hours. They used to do a cocktail cart that went around. We had that on the Wonder when we stayed in the
Yep.
Royal Suite. For sure, it's a Royal Suite. So I don't think they're doing that anymore, because when we were on the Wonder, they said that they were getting rid of doing that. But you also have exclusive access to seating before the shows start, so you get better seating for the shows if you wish. And I love the connection that you have with the concierge staff. There's usually 3 to 4 cast members that they have, and you really get to know them. And I love that. Just that's one of the things that has always been my favorite about cruising, especially Disney Cruise Line, are the cast members that you come across. And it sounds so silly, but just like the type of relationship that you can form in such a short time. But it's just really cool to learn about their lives and how they ended up on a cruise ship. And are they married? Do they have a family? There are so many people on the ships that have families, and they take these assignments and go back and forth. I think that the location of the concierge club is also, you can sit outside, you can sit inside, you're gonna have a beautiful view. It's just kind of that whole feel of kind of just having a separate place to go if you want to kind of get away from everything. I will say, like, the linens on the beds are different. Sounds silly, but if you're someone that likes nice finer things, the level of service is basically, you have your own person. There may be 3 or 4 of them, but they take care of everything. Excursions, getting off the ship, getting on the ship. When you get on the ship and you go to the port, you have a separate place. You're able to get on first. When you are departing, then in the debarkation, you have a separate space, and they actually walk you off the ship. So it's just another level of service above and beyond what Disney already does. But all of those little things, it's like you make one phone call and everything's taken care of for you. You have access to to purchase a cabana before everyone else. Just little things like that if in your everyday life you're someone that's always, for us, like, I'm planning, right? I'm running the agency, taking care of my clients, taking care of it, like all of those things. And for me, it is really nice that with a Disney cruise, especially if you're doing concierge, it's like one phone call for everything, and they take care of it for you. And each ship is different. Each ship has a different I think, like, the locations and even like the theming. So I'm really excited we're going to do concierge on the Treasure for my youngest 21st birthday. So I'm super excited to see that. And obviously when I'm on in a couple weeks, it'll be an area that I'm going to check out. But there are so many little things that you can point out that might not seem like big things, but then in the big, like, when it all comes together, I'll be honest, like, we work really hard. My husband works really hard, and it's really fun to be pampered. So and you're gonna get on you to think that if you go on the Disney cruise and you don't sail concierge, you're not gonna have fun. I mean, we sail both, you know what I mean? No, that's not at all what I'm saying. But if you want to treat yourself and you have the means to do it, you won't be disappointed. It's really cool.
Yeah. And so if you're somebody who's kind of looking for a true vacation feel, right? I feel like our top recommendation would be, 1, book with a travel consultant who's going to give you the best customer service before you get on the ship. And then make sure everything is taken care of when you get off the ship as well, right? So ideally we would want that to be Goofy Getaways, but we respect if there's a different travel agent that you work with. We understand that, right? But work with a travel agent, travel consultant for like booking your cruise. And then while you're on the cruise, like you're going to get great staff service across the board on any Disney cruise ship. But if you want to truly just be able to sit back and relax and feel like you are king or queen or whatever you want of the world, then concierge is the way to go. Like it really just takes it from that's a really good experience to like, oh my gosh, that was the best and most relaxing vacation of my life.
Yeah, and I agree.
Like that's what helps take it there. And so we love that piece of it. And the other thing I want to talk about with Disney Cruise Line, as we kind of wrap up some of these unique features about Disney Cruise, and again, we could take each of these and turn them into separate podcast episodes if people would like. So again, let us
break
know
down
what
the
you want
ships.
to hear.
I think it would be fun. Yeah, tell us what you think. I think it'd be fun to do like a series, like a 1 month series on breaking down the ships.
Absolutely. We need more than a month though, because we've got way more than like 4 ships.
Well, eventually, right?
Like,
eventually, but we could always do like the Magic and the Wonder in one, and we could do like the Dream and the Fantasy,
true.
and like
that's
the Wish
true.
and the Treasure. That's all ones that are actually
fair.
out.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, but the other thing that we want to talk about is people have a misconception that when they think about Disney Cruise Line, so Disney Cruise Line started in the Caribbean area. They sail to the Bahamas. They have their private ports of Castaway Cay and Lookout Point. Yes. So I would say over 50% of Disney cruisers are cruising down off the coast of Florida, down in that area. However, people don't realize that with Disney Cruise Line, you can literally sail just about anywhere in the world. Disney Cruise Line goes to Europe during the summer. They go to Alaska during the summer. During some of the winter months, they sail off of like the California coast. That was my very first Disney cruise, is that we sailed out of San Diego and went down on the west coast of Mexico. You can sail out towards Hawaii. They have Australian and Asian cruises now. Like, oh my gosh, you can literally sail anywhere in the world and get this like wonderful Disney magic. Speaking of like other destinations, we have to mention the fact that the Disney Adventure, another new ship, is coming over to Asia. And like, y'all,
Charles and I are planning to do that.
I've never wanted to be on a cruise ship so bad. Like,
yes,
that ship looks
amazing,
spectacular. Like Disney knocked it out of the ballpark. You take every other cruise ship that they have, all the best features, and then multiply that by 100. Like that's the adventure. Like I cannot wait to see that ship. I will be seeing that ship at some point.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. No, I'm excited about that too, and it's a really good way to partner like Hong Kong Disney too. They're pretty smart with the way that they're doing all of their.
It's it's almost like Disney has a little business plan in mind.
Imagine that. Yeah, they're running a business. Well, we're having experiences based on the business that they're running. We'll take it. We'll take it. Yeah.
But I love it. But so we want people to be aware that, again, like if you are looking for that beautiful Bahamian cruise, like, yes, we want, like, that's what a lot of people do, 3, 5, 7 night sailings down in the Bahamian area on a lot of their cruise ships. That's a great choice. Super, super fun. But we can literally help you get just about anywhere in the world on a Disney cruise ship. And so there's lots of different opportunities that are out there. So
yeah, I'm super excited to talk about like the experience that we're going to have in a couple of weeks too. So that'll be fun.
All right. Well, it is time for Amy's All In. If you are new to our podcast episode, each week we're going to tell you what each of us Amy's are all about. This means something that we just absolutely love and we feel like we have to share with all of you. So I want to know either, and maybe it's, you tell me both, but like, what is the favorite place that you've ever cruised? Or what is the most desired location that you would like to cruise? Like, what would Amy Blades be all in for a cruise destination?
So my all in, let's talk, I've gone to a lot of cool places on Disney Cruise Line, but the one that I have not done yet, which I want to do, is an Alaskan cruise. I am also, when we talk about all in, I do love, I like all of Disney's ships. I am going to sail on the Wish next year again because I did the preview sailing and I want to make sure and get on the Wish again just because there's so much to experience. I'm diverting and I don't mean to. My point of saying that is I am a sucker for the the Magic and the Wonder, and in Alaska is the Wonder. I have not done Alaska. That's the thing that I really want to do. And I want to sail it, concierge. So like that is my all in. That's what I'm most excited about, other than the preview of the Treasure. But I'm all in on that. And I'm super excited about getting that scheduled because I like the smaller ships. There's just something to be said for, they're all special. They really are, but there's just something about, especially the Magic being the first ship, there's like a sense of pride. And I think everyone's heard me talk about too. Like I love Walt Disney World, but there's something special at Disneyland. That's my all in. That's my really long answer to like your question.
I love it. We would have it no other way because if you just said a one-word answer, I'd be really disappointed in that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my all-in is actually the same. I actually I've actually been to Alaska. However, it is like bucket list Disney Cruise Line to Alaska. It will happen at some point in time for me for sure, because it's like I've booked it for clients as well, and seeing the photos that come back from them and them talking about their experience just makes me want to sail it even more. Like
I agree.
And the Wonder was the first ship that I ever sailed for Disney Cruise Line. And so now I have this like special emotional attachment to it. Because I get real emotional like that. And so I'm like, I just, oh my goodness, really, really want to do that. But I'm also going to say like, I really want to do a European river cruise as well. And Adventures by Disney does some of those. Yeah. So just as an FYI, like that is my other like dream location to cruise, is to do a European river cruise. Because I think that is such a unique and special way to see Europe without having to unpack your bags 8,000 times as you go to the multiple cities, and you can just go.
I didn't know that was like going to be an option, because I want to do a river cruise that goes to the Christmas markets. Yeah. That's my So I agree. I want to try river cruising just because I love cruising in general. So I want to try that. I've heard it's an amazing experience. Yep. That's so funny that we're both all in on Alaska though. Okay. So you know what that means.
Let's go, Amy. Let's go.
No, well, we just, we're going to do that next summer, no matter what.
It's going to happen.
Just saying. Happen. Yeah.
I love it. And of course, we'll have to share with you all on the podcast episode after we do it. Like what the Amy's truly thought of all in Alaska. Because I'm not going to lie, I am not a cold weather person.
Me either.
It snowed here. We live in Michigan currently. And it snowed, and I'm literally wrapped in a blanket from the waist down today.
I'm in a sweatshirt dress. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, but I think Alaska will be an amazing cruise experience, especially on Disney Cruise Line. It's happening. It's happening. Yeah. Okay. Well, that is our episode about what's unique about Disney Cruise Line. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Stay tuned, because our next episode is going to be Amy and her son Charles sharing with us about the Disney Treasure after they get off the ship. So mid-December, they are going to be sailing on the Disney Treasure. Disney has invited Goofy Getaways, and they are going and representing us. And we are so, so excited for this opportunity. And to see this beautiful, beautiful ship. Very excited to hear both Amy and Charles and their opinions, because while they have some similarities of things that they like, they have some very unique things that they like. Charles is a foodie like me, different. Like etc. So we're very excited to hear both of your thoughts and opinions about the Disney Treasure. So make sure to let us know. And if you have questions that you want to hear them answer on that next podcast episode, be sure to comment on this one for us so that we can make sure that they address those questions for you.
And we have access, full access to Disney Cruise Line, and being on that preview cruise, like we have access to people that make those decisions. So if there are questions that you have, I'd love to be able to ask them.
Yes. So let us know what you want. But with that in mind, Amy, if somebody wants to book on the Disney Treasure or on a Disney cruise ship, what do they need to do?
Yeah, you need to reach out to Goofy Getaways because we have amazing travel consultants and our services are complimentary. Don't forget that. And there are a lot of different ways to do that. You can reach out to us at our website, which is www.goofygetaways.com. And if you look up in that top right-hand corner, you can click on contact us or, meet our team. You can look and see if there's somebody that you think looks really cool, but I think everybody's really cool. So you can also just ask us and we'll hook you up with someone that's really good. You can also call. We do have our number, our 800 number on the website as well. So definitely go to the website, or you can even email info@goofygetaways.com also. And just remember that our services are complimentary. So we really do thank you if you've showed up again. I promise this is the real deal. It's super authentic. You get what you get with Amy and I. We are learning this right along with you, trying to create some content that's interesting and fun. And we're working really hard to give you all of the things that you want and even more. So continue to stick with us. We appreciate that you're here. And I'm super excited to see you on our next episode where I can talk to you about the treasure. So send us some questions. But other than that, have a fantastic week and we will see ya
real soon.
If you liked today's episode of the Goofy Getaways podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember to follow Goofy Getaways on social media so we can lead you to the magic.